Welcome to this program, Your Journey Defined. We're looking at your willingness and we're looking at your obedience. We now reach the point that we want to take this discussion further. Let me explain. In the previous session, we talk about God's economy and man's economy. But I want to take it a next step because we're living in a world that we need to ask, so what is the purpose of business? And I've got so many examples because people are thinking the purpose of business, and then I'm saying, no, wait until you hear the rest of the story. So today we're going to discuss this topic of purpose of business. And the reason why I'm again so excited about it, I want you to go back. I want you to apply it. But before we jump into this session, I just want to give you a little bit additional background. When I do these sessions, I do research about what's happening in the world and why we're so excited, and then also why do we need facilitators. So let me give you a couple of statistics, and then we're going to carry on with the session. What are they saying? And today in the world, the population is about 7.6 billion people. Well, listen to that. Second thing that I want to highlight, 31% are the Christian population. So immediately you can do some assessment. So, well, listen, what about the 69%? Is that a lost population, yes or no? When you look around in terms of specifically Africa, 51.1% are people who are 19 years and younger. Massive opportunity for us. When you look around the world, there's 1.1 billion people identify themselves as non-religious. Listen to that. When you look at some of the other statistics, the average, about 75% of people living in areas where there's some restrictions in terms of, religion and activities. When you look around and see what's happening in the world in terms of the internet, there are so many possibilities for us to get involved. And then you look around and say, well, listen, Mario, what is the biggest challenge that we need to address today? And I'm saying, I believe it's not poverty, it's gospel poverty. We are living in a world that people are not taking this stuff further. We're living in a world that people don't understand the purpose, the calling in their life. And this is why I'm so excited to be on this program, to talk to you about God's economy, to man's economy, but God's economy. But today we're going to talk a little bit further. Let's look at the purpose of business. Now, again, let me give you my starting points. I've been around in the world, lecturing at various places, running around with lots of interesting conferences. But there was one book, and I want to say, I know it was, the Bible turned me on, but I've listened to this research on Larry Burkett, Business by the Book, Biblical Principles for the Workplace. And the first thing that I said to myself, hey, I want to study this. What do we mean by biblical principles? And in this book, they discuss things like, when you hire people, when you fire people, how to pay, and promotions and pay increases, employee decisions. And this really turned me on because one of the discussions here is about the biblical principles about the purpose of business. So I want to start with this. But not only the basic biblical principles, it's also about things that you can apply and how you can use these principles. So what are we saying? We're living in a world, and I want to use the example, it's like a bicycle. You need both at the end to carry on, and both wheels. So if you only focus on a certain wheel, I'm saying, what about the front wheel? So let's just carry on and start implementing these type of things. So let me ask you the question, what is the purpose of business? And I've asked this question just before the show again and this program, and I realize a lot of people are always thinking about, it's to make money. So my point is, hey, the purpose of business is to glorify God. Okay, that's wonderful. But, so if you're looking at 1 Corinthians 10:31, so whatever you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. So now you ask the question, but Mario, is that possible? I'm in the workplace, and how can I use that same principles? So in this session, I'm going to help you to look at the 5 principles, the purpose of business. And I know it's going to make such an impact in your life, such an impact in your workplace. So what are the 5 principles? Is it about, tell me about it, Mario. Is it about profit? Is it about funding? Is it about provision? Is it about discipleship? Is it about evangelism? And this is why we are missing such a great opportunity. We're getting all this latest information, we keep it for ourselves. And I want you to listen also, go back to the previous session where we discussed things like God's economy, man's economy. So the first one that I want to explain, and not necessarily always in the same sequence, but I believe the purpose of business, one of the fundamental purpose of a business is about evangelism. Why? Now listen to Matthew 10, 32 and 33. Therefore, everyone who confesses man before men, I will also confess him before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I will also deny him before my Father who is in heaven. So you're sitting in the workplace, people are asking you, you can share your testimony. I know we're living in a world, people say, Mario, you've got to be careful, but I'm saying, but you are there for the reason. You can make the difference. You can share something. And one of the fundamental things that I'm asking you about understanding there is an evangelism role for you to play. So you suddenly realize somebody is working with you. He's disappointed. He's going through divorce. He's confused. He's not able to make money. He's involved in a bribe and all these type of things. This is your opportunity, because the fundamental principle, purpose number one, is about, hey, let's evangelize. Now, you can decide how you want to do it, what is the best way of doing it. I believe you've got to be culturally sensitive, but share your stories. And I know, please, whenever I move, this is a time that you can share your testimony, your story. But is that the only principle? Is that the only purpose of business? The second one, and I love this one, is about discipleship. What is discipleship all about? In 2 Timothy 2:2, the things which you have heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, entrust these to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. So, what are you doing with all this information? And I'm challenging you and I'm asking you. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is that what I've been trained in these areas. And often when we put a one-day seminar together, we talk about the business by the book. And it's a simple workbook. And in this workbook, and I want to be practical because I said this and I want to repeat, this is not a talk show. This is not about hyping you up. This is not about motivating you. It's about evangelizing. So in this one-day seminar or in the small group discussion, one of the first things that you discuss is the purpose of business. And then you can take people through you. And if you ask me, Mario, I want to be a facilitator. I want to be also looking at the same information. I'm saying, what is stopping you to do it? Because this is information that's available. We can PDF, we can Zoom, we can train you, we can Skype you, and you can start with your own session. So yes, it is about discipleship. And if you ask me why I'm so excited about this program, because this is a great opportunity for discipleship. Because you're sitting there, it's not possible for me to always get in places where you are. But you can talk to the business people in the workplace. You can talk to the business people in your environment, in your church. And you can have a fundamental, basic seminar about these principles. But is there something else? So, Mario, when are you going to start talking about money? I'm saying, wait. I'm coming there. The third principle is funding and supporting God's work. Isn't that wonderful? If you look at Proverbs 3 verses 9, honor the Lord from your wealth and from the first. He's talking about all the things that you receive in the money. So it is possible that you can fund other ministries, other opportunities. You're sitting there, you make money. There's nothing wrong with making money. And I want to explain these type of things because it's great. But what are you doing? How can you use this? And this is where there's a challenge for us. And it's all about understanding God's economy, understanding man's economy, because we're looking at the world so differently. So what are we saying? Purpose number 3, it's all about funding and supporting God's work. Is that all, Mario? Is that, no, number 4, I know that's number 3. But what about making money? I'm saying, wait, I'm coming there. I'm not denying it. But reason number 4, the purpose of business, supplying family needs. Now listen to this in 1 Timothy 5 verses 8. If anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So why are we working? Isn't it very, very important? We want to supply our family and our family needs. So again, you want to ask me, Mario, so far, I've failed the test. I've thought about purpose of business. It's all about money and money and money. I'm saying, yes, there is a place for this. You can, but this is not the end of this program, because after the break, I want to talk to you about the final one or the other one also. So please, let's take a break quickly. Let's reflect and again connect so that I can take you through the other principle also. It's all about the purpose of business. Let's understand it so that we can make the difference. Looking forward to discuss it further with you.
Do we understand these different seasons? We try our best to help people to be successful. As people move on with their lives, there is a desperate need to move on to the season of significance. In our research on managerial degeneration and self-neglect, we have found that managers easily understand the importance of strategic thinking and when to have team-building sessions with their staff, but often fail to apply those same processes in their own lives. Use your willingness and obedience now. Start your journey to be a facilitator today. When trained as a facilitator, you will have the opportunity to serve people in a very unique way. We are keen to take you through this wonderful training. Let the rest of your life be the best part of your life.
So, the purpose of business. And we discussed so far the first 4 very important principles. And now you're asking, Mario, what about the next one? You're missing the point, my friend. But no, wait. I'm going to explain it to you, because if we don't understand these principles, let me give you another example. Just the principle of stewardship. All belongs to God. Therefore, I'm a manager of His assets. I need to ask myself, where am I right now? What is the purpose of business? So let me get to the point. The purpose of business is also to make a profit. Are you sure, Mario? Are you sure? Is that biblical? Yes. Proverbs 10:22, the blessing of the Lord brings wealth, and He adds no trouble to it. So what are we saying? And this is where we've got a huge problem in the world today. A lot of people keep on asking us, listen, Mario, there's something wrong in our workplace. You're talking about all these biblical principles, but we're living in a world, it's about God's economy. It's about how much can I make? I'm not accountable to anybody. It's all about me, and it's me and me. And I want to repeat, money will not solve all your financial problems. And I've listened to something in the past, but I want to repeat this. Financial problems are an outside indicator of an inside spiritual condition. So often we need more and more and more money. And I want to share with you something which I know we're living in a world today where people are saying, Mario, you're talking about all these wonderful principles, but how do I make it till the end of the month? Please, put yourself in my position. How do I make it? You're talking about money. And I want to repeat, a great friend of mine, Dr. Andres Panasuk. And please, this is somebody that I love his work, I love his research. I'm part of the team also. And what they are doing is helping people just to make it till the end of the month. And in this material, in this training, they discover some fundamental principles like surrender, like true joy, like diligent patience, like integrity. But then they discuss the 7 ingredients for financial success. Now, Dr. Andres Panasuk is a very powerful, influential people, more in the Latin America. And we use the same information, the same material, because then they discuss how to develop a plan to control spending. What about looking at your financial limits? What about prosperity? What about learning to share? What about paying your loans? So what are we doing? Today, I'm talking about this topic, but the last thing that I want to do is, like, after the end of this program, you said, great, Mario, wonderful teaching. You've blessed me. And I'm saying, no, no, no. There are millions of people who say, well, listen, Mario, I struggle to make it till the end of the month. How do I do it? So now I'm asking you, what about you? Don't you want to get involved? Don't you want to share the same wisdom? And I'm saying it's possible. The only thing that you need to do is get involved. And then what we do, we will train you as a facilitator. There are brilliant material, e-books, there are e-learning, there are webinars, all these type of things. I'm looking for faithful people. I'm looking for people who are not only faithful but obedient, who are willing to take up this mandate, to walk into this journey. Because the journey defined is not only about, understand who you are. It's about putting character first. It's also in the workplace. Take up the right mandate. Take up your rightful role. So please, I want to repeat, what is the purpose of business? Yes, money is very important. But I want in this session also explain to you is that we are making big mistakes. And why is it so? Because when we sometimes want to make big money, we are not taking the right steps. And listen to this. It's important that you need to seek counsel. Who's your accountability partner in this wonderful process? It's about striving for excellence. It's about avoiding greed. It's about submitting your business to God for His glory. Because sometimes, we want all these blessings, but are we prepared to commit ourselves? And this is very important. It is about commitment. So I'm asking yourself right now, and I want you to listen to this. When I put this research together, I put a couple of, true and false questions. And ask yourself, when I'm going to repeat these next questions, is it true or false? Questions like, we are working hard in building the kingdom of God. Yes or no? Or you say, no, Mario, I've never thought about it. Is this really true? And I'm saying, yes. The next question, succession planning and development is in place. Are you still learning or are you standing still? What are you doing about your own development? And again, 50% of all development is self-development. These are materials that's available. Things like biblical principles for the workplace. How do I make it to the end of the month? Things about business God's way. I'm always saying is, yes, please, connect, so that we can help you, so that you can make a difference. I know my God-given dream for the business and life. What is your God-driven business dream? Things like, I live with an internal perspective to be a faithful servant. So important. I have a closer relationship with the Lord than ever before. So what are we saying? If you really want to understand the purpose of business, this is so important. You've got to look at those top 5. But it's not the one versus the other one. You need to put those 5 together. Because if you really understand it, you're going to suddenly realize, I've got such a big role in terms of evangelizing people in the workplace. What about discipleship? What about funding? What about provision? What about profit? You can do these type of things. The way that I love starting my day in the office is with what? With a short devotion. You can pray for your immediate senior. Nothing's going to stop you. You can, if it's necessary, sit down and say, well, listen, hey, what is the purpose of business? We're going in the wrong direction. So from my side, what I'm saying is, please allow the Holy Spirit to guide you. Because if you don't do it, you want to put money first. There's a place for that. But I'm saying, don't put money first and people last. Because I know where that is coming from. Don't just apply your worldly wisdom. That's great. But a lot of times we apply this knowledge, not wisdom. There's a big difference. So when we serve and we are in this God's economy, I want you to listen. When we apply these 5 principles, who's your boss? That's the first question. He is my boss. I want to make him look good in the eyes of others. He is the provider. He will advance me in his time. You will use His circumstances for good. God provides. And this is why, we're working for income, we're working for money, and we're working every day, but we're not focused, we're losing touch, and there's sometimes a huge problem because we don't understand the purpose of business. So in our research, in our thinking, we put these type of things together. This is like, and I want to repeat, it's like a small seminar. You can do it on a daily basis. Or you can do it on a small group, or you can go into a seminar. And if you want to get trained, please, I don't want to use numbers like hundreds of thousands or millions, but connect. And I want to say again, so far, people have connected for me. I want to say thank you very much, but we can do so much more. So if you understand the purpose of business, you will understand things like abundance and scarcity even better. Because a lot of people say, Mario, you know, I don't understand these principles. I don't understand creativity. And it's great when you work through these type of things. What do you, explain to me contentment. What is contentment all about? Where does this fit in? What is it bringing to the table? It's all about God's economy, man's economy, and the purpose of business. What about progress? What about another thing, my planning in the workplace? It's going to look differently. You will enjoy it. I promise you, because there's a lot of conflict in the workplace, a lot of misunderstanding, and I'm saying, I know why. Because if you think it's only about this and this and this, and I'm saying no. And remember when I explained this to you, I put all 5 together in God's economy. That's why it's going to make a huge impact. And it's very important. Again, in terms of business, think about things like short-term and long-term. It's not about just people and people and people. In the long term, we want to look at eternally, where are we going? What is God's word saying about this specific principles? So what are we saying? God's economy versus man's economy. Where does it fit in? What is the purpose of business? And I want to repeat this because I'm saying today we have lost the touch of evangelizing people in the workplace because we are so very, let's call it politically correct. We don't want to even share our testimony. And we are working in and we're leaving and the people look at you and say, well, listen, there's no difference. And I'm saying you can make that difference. The second one is about discipleship. You can share what you've learned, things that you need to apply. And I want to say, for those of you sitting in the workplaces, just be sensitive, but please, you can play a role. And I know when I'm lecturing, one of the things that I'm doing, and I want to use a simple example, often when I'm lecturing, I've often like 10, 15 minutes earlier, then I put on my music. And I put it on very soft. And I always don't know who's in the class. And it happened often a couple of times. People approach and say, well, listen, I just love your music. I know where you're coming from. Are you a child of God? And I suddenly realized I've said nothing. I didn't even use any words, but I know the principle of discipleship. Funding, things like provision, then finally profit. We need to understand it. And again, I want to say, I'm coming from a business school. Nothing wrong with that. I've been trained by some of these great gurus in the world in terms of these topics. But looking back, of all the years, thinking back, we've missed it because we are talking about, all these principles, but we are missing something. So I want to ask you, please, if you think about these principles, where do you stand? What do you need right now? What can you change? How do you apply these type of things? Because God's economy, man's economy, the purpose of business is going to make a huge impact. So what I'm asking you, and I want you, as I'm wrapping up this session, I want you to listen to this. Are you content, yes or no? Where do you stand? And it's possible that you say, Mario, I'm not a child of God. I understand what you're saying, but I'm missing something. And I'm saying it's not too late. For you right now, I want to ask, connect with me. I want to pray for you. I want to say, Lord, Holy Spirit, guide us. I want to, if you want to accept Him as your personal Savior, it is the right time. Start admitting where you are and that you need this and that you're desperate because it is about evangelizing. You can play the role. You can be that. You are the church in the workplace. So please, very, very important. Use these type of things. It's all about God's economy so that you can make the difference. So yes, where are we right now? 5 purposes of business. You need to understand it. But take this stuff further. You will enjoy it. You will understand the principles of abundance because you are putting God's purpose back in the workplace. Enjoy it. I'm looking forward to close the session with you. you know, keep on thinking about how do we learn, what have we learned today, how do we apply it, and how we use this information to teach other people. I've used 2 simple examples, and closing down, I want to say again, how do I make it till the end of the month? A basic, very basic principle. So I want to just repeat this, or if you want to say, listen, I want to get involved business by the book, and I'm saying, yes, why not? Get involved. Because to me, it's always about what do we do with all this wonderful information? Do we want to just create this great opportunity? And I'm saying, no, it's more than that. So in this program, what we're busy doing right now is that we are discussing these type of things. And you will see in our next program, we're going to start discussing things like ownership. We're going to look at things like specifically ethics and governance. It's a very important topic. So that's what you can expect also in our next program. So we're going to highlight these type of things. But I want to say again, if you're sitting on the other side, you say, Mario, this is great. But, you know, I don't experience the similar things that you are excited about. I've got a word for you. And listen to this. This is very important. Do not ever put a limit on what God can do through you. Very important. The most important thing in your life is doing God's will. And stick to the principle of God's word every time. And again, stick to the principles of the economy of God, God's economy. God's plan for you are much bigger and where you are today. Remember that your purpose is an unfolding process. It's an unfolding process. God will keep you living in the faith zone all the way to your dreams manifesting. Go for it. And then I'm saying, please take these type of things. I want you really, as we're closing the session, take these action plans to the next step. Apply these principles. God is at work. As I know also somebody else of my colleagues at other programs use the same discussion. God is at work. But we need to understand this. We need to say, how can we apply these type of things and how can we make the difference? So I want to close by blessing you again. May the Lord bless you in your workplace with lots of ability and abundance. Also, may the Lord make His angels go with you in the workplace. May the Lord bless you with a clear direction in the business, but that you understand God's purpose, that you understand the God's economy. May the Lord bless you with courage and creativity. That to me is very important. May the Lord bless you with an increasing faith in the workplace. And may the Lord bless you with good health. So what are we saying? I want to start wrapping up, and I want to say, you know, please make contact with us. Connect with us, drop an email for us, download the information. That to me is very important so that we can really take this further. And of that, then I want to say, go make the difference. God bless you.